Whole lot.
And let's start here. Me and you, we both talked about this. We both said the Ravens are the best team in the NFL.
Yep.
They go to Cincinnati, a big game. You know, the Bengals need to win in order to keep their season going. They're now, all right? They needed to win that game. Joe Burrow comes out, their quarterback, 5 touchdowns. He has a bad pick at the end. Okay, he did. But he had a big day.
Yeah,
5
he did
touchdowns.
You would ask
and against the Ravens defense, it's impressive. Okay, I watched the entire game. That was the game I focused in on because I really wanted to. I'm not a flip around or watch Red Zone. No, I want to watch a game, and I watched that game.
I struggle with that.
Do you understand? Like,
if it's not a tie, meaning I'm connected to it, like the Lions, or like you said, a certain game I have to. I'm gonna red zone it because I just want to keep up with everything. But I do miss sitting down and just watching a full game at times because you miss little nuances. You'll just see the score. You don't know. Well, this is how they got there, why they got there.
Because football isn't just the red zone offensively. Like plays are made defensively, things are happening in the game, and I just wanted to watch that game. I just thought, like, this is a game that matters. And for Lamar Jackson to come up with this game, 4 touchdowns, he had a big fumble that wound up not hurting them because the Bengals missed the field goal off of that, and then they came back to win. And Derrick Henry had a big run to set up, the game-winning field goal in that. And Derrick Henry was the one. Rob G, do we have sound from Derrick Henry? Okay. But Derrick Henry said Lamar is the best player in the NFL.
I mean.
Right? Isn't that, Rob G, basically what he said?
Not only say he's the best player in the NFL, he called him the GOAT.
No,
so that tells you what
that's everybody get a little crazy about.
No, he was no, y'all didn't hear it. He said in Baltimore.
Oh, the GOAT in Baltimore.
I'm making it up because he wasn't talking about the GOAT. He listen. Lamar is great, but he's not the GOAT. But this is what you and I have talked about. That is a deadly 1-2 punch. And historically, you don't necessarily think of like a 1-2 punch, a quarterback and a running back. You kind of think of a quarterback to a receiver. But man, that is a scary, scary 1-2 punch.
And I gotta say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know he want to say and I know that's not what he said. The GOAT in Baltimore. There's a quarterback named Johnny Unitas who was pretty damn good.
He was.
Okay, for the Baltimore.
But the franchise is gone. Okay, that's what he was saying. He was saying the Baltimore Ravens.
But you know what I mean.
I mean, it's either him or Trent Dilfer. Which one you want?
Yeah, I know.
You know.
But Johnny Unitas.
No, but Johnny. Hey, the Colts are gone, man. Let me talk about my quarterback. Okay, that's how he feel right now. And listen, obviously those guys are emotional. You're playing with a guy who, but I mean, listen, if you're saying most talented, I mean, he'd be up there for sure. What he does is scary. That 1-2 punch is a lot to deal with because Derrick Henry slow rolling you, getting yards, producing, having a solid game, but then the ability. He's one of the biggest backs I've ever seen who gets better late. Brusts off the 50-something yard run in overtime. That's scary. You and I have talked about what the Baltimore Ravens are, and the reason why we both agree that they're the best team in the NFL is because they know exactly who they are, and when they're at their absolute peak, you just basically can't beat them. Now, maybe they'll beat themselves. They'll overthink something, throw a turnover here and there, but you just can't beat it. And we're going to have a conversation later about a team and a quarterback who said that his team is struggling with their identity, and they have a winning record. For him to say that,
not for long.
That's not what Baltimore has. They don't have an identity issue. Yeah, I'm not sure you're excited about that.
Yes.
That's conversation. They're scary, man. And what's crazy about this is I was talking to Rob G. I said, look, this is a game historically where Lamar you go, he can't win that one. This was a game to get a division rival out of here, make him 1-4, push him to the side.
And he won that game.
And he won that game. He won it with his arm, Rob, almost 350 yards, a few touchdowns. Man, he looked incredible. He looked Superman. He has 4 touchdowns. And I just love what I saw from him, from that team, and that's why I'm just big on them, man. I just think they know exactly who they are. They know what they do, and you have to line up and try to stop them.
If you watch that game for real, and if you had any doubt, I know he has the 2 MVPs and only had missed one vote in both of those, right? Almost a 2-time unanimous. There's only been one unanimous before him. That was Tom Brady, right? So he's been almost 2 times. And when you watch how he affects the game, I don't think, if you're honest just about watching the game, what he does and how he alters stuff, he is. And that's what I was talking about, me wanting to focus in and really watch him, not just the highlights, because there's a lot of nuances and stuff.
Small thing, that 3-yard run that'll never make a highlight, but it was important because blah,
at
blah,
that
blah.
Point and what he had to do. And I don't know. I mean, people could say Patrick Mahomes, and that would be off of reputation. That ain't off of right now.
100%.
You know what I mean? And
100%.
and nobody's saying that Lamar's career is better than Patrick. No, Patrick has Super Bowls. He has MVPs in his own right. You know what I mean? He's well more accomplished. But if you're being honest about right here, right now, who's playing better, and who else would you look and say is the MVP?
Josh Allen had a chance, but
what
the last couple games.
What did I tell you about Josh Allen? Like, he's regular season dead to me because I've seen those big games, and then I've seen he was 9 for 30 yesterday.
That's
it's awful.
He's too good.
9 for 30.
He's too good for that.
So
Jaden Daniels is in the mix for MVP.
He won't be.
I'm throwing out. But listen, it's Lamar Jackson's to lose because he's going to affect the game. He's going to give you 200-plus yards passing, dag near 100 if he wants to running, and his team is going to win. They're the type of team, none of us are shocked if they run off 6 to 8 straight.
Right.
And you look up and you're like, I remember the time when they were 2-2?
Right. And that game right there was one that most teams don't. You fall behind. Yep. You're on the road. Your opposing quarterback is having a day. 5 touchdowns is a day.
Joe Burrow looked great. And he has a few times this season where he's looked great. Jamar Chase looked ridiculous, putting up crazy numbers. Almost 200 yards, couple touchdowns. But I will say this about the Bengals. If you and I had this conversation, if there's a team to get down 0-3, you would still believe could come back. We were like, it'd be the Ravens, it'd be the Bengals. Well, one of them have done that and gotten the ball rolling. I'll tell you what, every week for the next 5-6 weeks, nobody wants to play the Bengals. Like, I know they're 1-4, but you're gonna be like, man, are the Panthers available?
But the only issue with the Bengals is their defense.
Their defense is letting them down because
bad.
This is the second or third game where they've put up crazy numbers right now. They're leading the league offensively. Joe Burrow's leading the league in pretty much every quarterback statistic or category. But they just can't find a way to win. And again, Lamar Jackson has had a history of a couple of times a year. He'll lose a game, you're like, nah, you needed that, or you had the lead, or if you would have just kept being Lamar, you would have won. I was very, very happy and pleased to see him find a way to get that W and make clutch throws, Rob, not just run it. He made clutch throws, use his legs when he need to, and again, you're leaning on that all game and knowing Derrick Henry any moment could bust a 40, 50, 60-yarder. Man, they're scary. That's the best
anybody
thing in
who
the NFL
looks at that guy really, I'm talking about really watches him and doesn't think he's a game changer, one of the best players.
He being Derrick Henry? Lamar?
Lamar. I think you're crazy. Because there are a lot of people that are still just because he hasn't won in the playoffs yet. Oh, he lost to Mahomes.
And he's lost. Yeah, he's got to get there. He's got to win.
He will get there, but that doesn't. Right now, we're talking about the season. And during the season, they got off to an 0-2 start. They could have easily won those 2 games, and now look where they are.
It's a credit to him and that organization. Nobody really panicked when they were 0-2. You know, I'm sure if you're a super duper diehard Ravens fan, maybe.
Too good.
But all of us were like, nah. You and I both sat here and like, nah, they'll be fine. Because if you took a 10-game span, they're gonna go 7-3 of those 10. You know what I mean, and get right back to where they need to be. So you weren't overly worried. And they just, I'm just a big fan of what they're doing, and they know who they are. And when Lamar plays like that, dude, forget about it.
All right, 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. It's real simple. Are the Ravens the best team in the NFL, and is Lamar the best player in the NFL right now? It's real simple. And if not, who do you have as the best player or the best team? It's clear to me, and Kelvin.
The only person.
Kelvin, we both are on the same page on this.
Unfortunately, we are. Because listen, I ain't here to play fake radio and act like
we'll never do that.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson is the best. His team's been the best. You and I have been saying that for 2 or 3 weeks now, and they continue to prove it. Having a conversation. Lamar Jackson, best player in the NFL, very simple. Or are the Ravens the best team in the NFL? We want to hear from you, 877-99 on Fox. What we got, Rob?
Justin in Kansas, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Justin?
Okay. I want to know how you two can sit there with a straight face and say that the Ravens are better than the Kansas City Chiefs when the Chiefs have beaten them twice now, once in the championship game.
No, we're not talking about a lifetime achievement. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about going. We're talking about go. What are you talking? Have you watched the Chiefs this year?
Have I what?
Have you watched the Chiefs?
Yes, and I watched them beat the Ravens.
Okay, so you watched the Chiefs, and you heard, you saw where the player's foot was on the line on the last play of the game. That's the game you're talking about? Okay, but it ain't like they ran over them. It ain't like the Chiefs have been unbelievable and unbeatable. They're lucky to be 4-0. It's the worst 4-0 team I've ever seen. Patrick Mahomes has been awful. He's got yes, I still think the Ravens are better. Did you see what happened in Cincinnati in a game that mattered the most to the Bengals? Did you watch the game?
Yeah, the Bengals are a good team.
And what did the Ravens do on the road against a division rival that was trying to survive for their season? What did they do?
That was a good game.
That's the biggest win of the NFL season for anybody. Get on it. Wake up. Stop it. You can't help it. You're about the Chiefs, and they are. The Chiefs have not played well this year. Stop. Last year, the Chiefs went scoreless in the second half against Baltimore. Stop it. I get it.
They won.
No, I get it. But you also have to look at how these things play out. And you can't tell me by watching the Chiefs this year that they're better than the Ravens, because they're not. I don't care what the record is.
They didn't lose to the Raiders.
I don't care what the record is.
Lost the Raiders, and that's not a good football
team. Did you watch Sunday? Hello? Is this on? Did you watch? Thank you.
Hey, I'll say this. I've said it all season long. The Chiefs have put themselves in position to absolutely have calls like that. It makes sense. I'm not even mad at the call because, to their credit, they have beat the Ravens when it mattered most. To their credit.
No, but we're talking about this
I know.
season.
I'm with you. I've already said I think the Ravens are the best team, but I get the idea that they keep winning games by however means necessary, they being the Chiefs. So I get the call. It's not crazy
do you remember
to think the Chiefs are the best team. They're the reigning champs, and they're undefeated. But if you're asking me who's playing better football, if you're asking me who do I feel comfortable in the let's just line up two teams this Sunday, I'm saying the Ravens, and I think they have the most spectacular player right now. If you're asking historically, if you're asking whose career ultimately, it will be Patrick Mahomes. But right now, Lamar Jackson is incredible. The Ravens, to me, have an identity where they know exactly who they are. That's why they're the best to me. But I'm not mad if you say the Chiefs. It makes sense.
It doesn't, because, and I'm going to say this, because people get caught up in what they've done, which I understand. No one's saying that the Ravens are better than them or Patrick Mahomes' career. But you can't watch those Chiefs games this year and think the team is playing well. You could ask Patrick Mahomes, it hasn't been fun.
But the problem with that, Rob, is it comes down to wins and losses. So that's why
it doesn't. I'm going to tell you why. Pittsburgh was 11-0, Rob G, a couple years ago, weren't they? 11-0, and nobody thought they were the best team in the league. And that's my point, is you can win games and not be the best team.
But they don't have a record of having 3 Super Bowl titles like the Chiefs.
But you're getting caught up in the past.
I'm not. I'm talking about the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm talking about that season. They were 11-0, and nobody thought they were the best team. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, if there's a team I'm not mad if you say, it's the Chiefs. They've earned that right. I'm not mad if you say that. I just think what I see week in, week out, I like what I like from Baltimore, and I love that they know exactly who they are.
Andy in Washington, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Andy?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's up, Andy?
Hey, I agree that the Ravens they're hot, but I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
What do you think? What could make this year different for the Ravens?
We're not there yet. Wait a minute, we're not there yet. And the same thing. I'm just gonna, for Andy. This is the same thing they said about the Boston Celtics. Okay. They can't win. Those guys can't win. They've been to the Eastern Conference Final. They've been to the... Okay, they can't win. Guess what they did this year? Some teams don't win until they win. So the same argument you're making for Baltimore is what they made against Tatum and Brown. Go back and listen. That's the same thing in Denver, right? With the Joker. Oh, he's the MVP. They can't win a championship, and then he won a championship. That's all I'm saying.
So this is shout out to the caller. This is what I've said, and Rob has seen me now for almost 4 weeks say this. You keep showing up to the dance, and eventually you'll get in, and you'll get on the dance floor, and you'll win. So they keep showing up. Now, to answer that, they also have Derrick Henry. They ain't have Derrick Henry last year. And Derrick Henry has lived up to the calling, lived up to the billing. Sometimes you get these free agent signings, OBJ being one. He went to a few different places like, they got Odell Beckham, and it doesn't live up. Derrick Henry has lived up to it.
But he made it like it was the same team from a year ago, and that's my point, is that he's just automatically because they lost last year believes that they're going to lose this year.
And if they did lose last year, they got to the AFC Championship. That's my biggest thing. And they're a play away, a few plays away from winning. So get me to the AFC or the NFC Championship again. Give me a shot to win it. I'll take that any year as a general manager or head coach or owner of a team. Let's squeeze
in TJ real quick. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. You know I'm worked up on a Magic City Monday.
It's a little early, bro. We got a long show left.
No. I got energy for all 3 hours.
Well, Rob, I'm not trying to get you worked up even more, but I got to disagree, man. And there's only one reason I would disagree. I think the Ravens' defense is horrible and even worse than it was last year.
Horrible? I can't give you that.
Yeah, I'm not with horrible.
I think I would have, TJ, to your point, I think they have gotten lackadaisical at times because I think they've scoreboard watch. You know what I mean? Where they like the Ravens.
No, they took their foot.
Yeah, foot off the pedal. Let me go hang out. Ain't no way they coming back. What we doing tonight? I think they have had some of those.
TJ, you can't tell me.
Ray Lewis ain't walking through that locker room.
With Derrick Henry on that offense, you pick your poison there. I don't know if you watched Lamar yesterday. There was a play where he knocked down two stiff arm. Did you see that?
I saw that.
He stiff armed 2 guys and then threw a touchdown. Touchdown throw. Go watch that play. TJ, did you see the play we're talking about? You should go watch that.
Superman.
Incredible.
The best quarterback in the league. But that defense, Rob, I'm just scared.
No, I hear you. Listen, TJ. Now, TJ, my last point. Thank you for the call, TJ. Another thing, too, sometimes what TJ's not considering, last point before we get to trending, is the opposite of what we're seeing with the Chiefs. The Chiefs are leaning on that defense. The Chiefs are relying on that defense because they ain't scoring a bunch of points. You got Patrick Mahomes not going crazy with the numbers. Travis Kelce hasn't even been himself, but thankfully the Chiefs' defense has kept them in games. And right now it's kind of the reverse for the Ravens, who historically have been defensive-minded. Now you got the offense getting the job done. So to me, I don't really care as long as you both are there and you finding ways to win.